This sport is sponsored by Rapid Radios. SDFC had a massive win over Vancouver last night, 5-3. Milan Olaski had 4 goals on the night. SDFC currently sits atop the Western Conference. In the NBA draft, Cooper Flagg, the overwhelming favorite, went number 1 overall to the Dallas Mavericks, while Dylan Harper out of Rutgers went number 2 to the Spurs. The Lakers made a trade today, jumping up from the number 55 pick in the draft to number 45, the Chicago Bulls, for the 55th pick and some cash considerations. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Yes. Welcome in. It's not the Fletch Zone. No. It's been rebranded, renamed, if only for a day, to the Fletch Zone. Woo! With your hosts, Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long. And when I say long, I mean extra long. Wow. On the Fletch Zone.
Wow.
We are going to do things a little bit differently today. It's going to get awfully steamy, maybe even a little sultry. Ooh. Back down the lights. We're going to increase the emotion.
It has been a minute.
We are back in a big way.
It feels real good.
It feels really good.
To be in this leather saddle.
It's like settling into a warm bath. You just let it wash over you.
Golly. It smells of mahogany.
Stings the nerves at first, but if you just take it slow and you slip in, all of a sudden you can feel it. Ow! Take over your senses. It's the Fletch Zone. Middays, 12 to 2. And to be honest, we're not done then.
The only show that gets you ready for your Friday night.
On Thursday. On Thursday afternoon.
In the middle of the afternoon on Thursday. A distracting reprieve from whatever it is that is bothering you, that's got the panties in the bunch.
Hashtag
allow us
sports
to unbunch said panties.
Balls.
Sport balls is what we're talking
That's
about.
what we're talking about.
Of the foot variety and the soccer variety, as we're the home of SDFC.
You got a racket, we're gonna whack it.
That's right. Balls of the tennis sort. Fuzzy, green, stinky.
Pop that can.
Ooh, do you got pens or you got Wilsons?
Office plan.
Miller just lobbed a message.
I'm just hearing voices now.
Yeah,
I think
the romantic sensual music ran out.
Oh, we got to pay for it now.
It's an ad. They interrupted our sensual time.
Did you dial a 900 number? Is that what you did?
1-800 hot SCX.
Yeah, you get 1 minute free, and then you got to put a credit card in. That's how that works, Sammy.
They take the credit card beforehand, unfortunately. Yeah, you can't pay after.
Nice.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience. Coming up on the show today, we will be talking sports. Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, San Diego Sports 760's own, he's going to jump on.
He's our very best friend.
He's our very best friend in the whole wide world. In fact, he's such a good friend that he was on with Sammy and Fletch earlier in the week, and he said, no. I'm not going to miss out on an opportunity to be on the Fletch Zone.
That's right.
The Fletch creeps him out a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I think
really?
you guys are actually best friends with him, and he's. I don't think AC likes Fletch very much.
Why? What does Fletch do to creep him out?
Because he was talking about you guys were at a game, you were spying on him.
Oh yeah,
we took several pictures of him.
We took a lot of photos
without his consent.
That's also true, and we posted them.
He was in a public space, so we can take those photos.
Yeah. And guess what?
That is the law.
Consent or not, we're watching you, Kevin, and we are going to watch him, or I guess speak to him. It'll be audio only. He's going to be on the phone with us at 12:30. Coming up in the second hour of the show, John Quintera, he's going to be joining us. So you'll get your Padres fix. We're also going to be diving headlong into the NFL.
Easy.
Headlong.
Come on.
Yeah,
he's over in the control room.
That's right.
Long, Rich, and TD.
It was a high school nickname. But we had a lot going on this morning. In fact, it's carried over now into the afternoon. Travis Dale, our very own TD, and his lovely family, his wife Sarah, his son Caleb, his daughter Haley came in with their brand new pups. He has 9-week-old Maltipoo puppies named Darla and Doc. And buddy, when I tell you, these are the most adorable animals I have ever seen in my life, and the puppies are cute too.
Yeah, they are. They are very heartwarming. We went to go get one puppy. We could not leave with one, so we have a pair of pups.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of insane.
We finished our morning show over on 101.5 KGB, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and then we immediately just started rolling around on the carpets in the studio, playing with your dogs until Sammy came in and kicked me in the ribs and said, dude, we have a show to host.
Right.
So we came over here, and again, you're listening to the Fletch Zone, noon to 2 right here on not only on San Diego Sports 760, but live on the free iHeartRadio app. Go ahead and download that, set us to your presets, do all those things. You could also
and on your nearest webcam.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
YouTube.
right.
Yeah. You could YouTube us at the Fletch Zone.
Maybe with the Fletch Zone, we could get on some sites we can't name.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, and get paid.
Yeah, I hear
Finally.
a lot of people are making a ton of money on the internet and streaming cameras these days. So
Onlyflesh.com.
Yeah, that's right. So we have signed up for that. You can hit us up on the text line as well, 70470. Start your message with the word team. God, I haven't said that in a minute. It feels real good.
Yeah, team at 70470 is where you can reach us. And it feels like we're already getting some messages tumbling in here. That page has been populating.
615 says, Big Rich and TD, I missed your voices so much. That's it. That's the text. On behalf of everyone, as me, it's an honor to get to work with you too. And everyone is stoked that your voices are back on 760.
Well, we're just down the hall on 101.5 KGB from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. So if you miss us, you listen to some classic rock, and alongside that, we have a ton of fun over there. But it is our privilege to be over here talking to this audience again. It feels like putting on an old pair of wool socks.
Oh, golly.
Just the toe imprints have been left from time and work and
they're warm,
sweat,
and they've been used.
Now we are going to stick to some of the normal features on the show, and I think it's right about that time.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day.
Yes, it's
the Big Three.
The Big Three, brought to you by Sammy Long. A lot happened actually over the past 24 hours.
Operator error there. Yes, we had a lot going on in the last 24 hours. Curious to hear you guys' takes. What was your favorite moment from last night in the NBA draft?
Oh, wow. Okay, well, Cooper Flagg obviously was going to go first overall. He joins Kyrie Irving. Who else? Paolo
Davis.
Banchero. He joins. I'm trying to think of Dookies. Oh, Zion Williamson. Since 1999, they've had something like a handful, 5 or so first overall draft selections. So through the past, quarter century, they've littered the top of the draft. So Duke continues to get richer as the NIL years start to wear on here. But yeah, so that was kind of we knew that Cooper was going first. I think my favorite part, and TD, you correct me if I'm wrong because maybe I have a different one. My favorite part was right at the start of the draft. There was a crowd obviously waiting for Adam Silver to take the stage for the announcement of the draft, the first overall draft pick. And somebody shouted something from the audience. Do you have that audio, Sammy?
I'll get it. Hold on.
Okay, yeah. It was loud enough for the ESPN cameras and the microphones that they had live in the audience to pick up on. And it was somebody shouting their displeasure and their discontent with the fact that Dallas had the first overall draft pick.
Just happened to be they were able to get this first overall draft pick, right? In the lottery, just happened to be after this crazy trade that went down midseason. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem shady at all.
Yeah, so Luka, or I should say, the Lakers get Luka. It felt like the Dallas Mavericks got robbed in the trade, and then all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it, Dallas gets the lucky ball, their lottery ball pulled, and they get the first overall draft selection. Here is the sound and this is, by the way, as the commissioner is making his way from the wings of the stage to take the microphone at the pulpit of the NBA draft last night. The booing.
And he goes, "Good evening."
Dallas was rigged. It sounded like the guy had a mic.
Yeah, they're holding up in his face.
I just
It's
picture
crazy.
grabbing a sound guy with a fuzzy boom mic and like pulling it toward his face before he gets thrown out of the joint.
It's worth it though.
Yeah, Sammy, what's next? What's next on the big three?
What do you guys think? So Padres halfway through the season, just wrapped up a whole series with the Nationals there. How are you feeling about this team going in the stretch run? And do you think they're buyers or sellers at the deadline?
They are playing like a dead 500 team.
That's what it feels like. Like all of a sudden, the Padres who started out so hot, it's felt so good, all of a sudden feel a little lackluster. It's just a very average team at the moment, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because if you just stay average and get hot at the right time, it still works. But it just the excitement level isn't there at the moment.
Yeah.
But are they buyers? How could you not be buyers at this time? I mean, you still have a winning record. You still have a shot at this thing. You still have a team that could go out there and win the whole damn thing. You got to go for it. Push the chips in.
With the Nationals coming to San Diego and watching players like James Wood flaunting power hitting and Mackenzie Gore having 6 strong innings in his start, and CJ Abrams doing CJ Abrams things. We saw him do it in a Padres uniform, and now he's doing it for the Nats. It does stick in your craw a little bit, the fact that all of these players were once either in the Padres system or were labeled, in the case of Gore, as untouchable. And then you see what's happening with the Padres and you think like, man, you kind of wish you had some of that magic still within this roster, especially when you're evaluating the Xander Bogaerts contract and you're looking at some of the underperformance over the years with Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr., both of which, when they were signed to these long-term extensions, you were assuming that this was just it was going to be championships. As Peter Seidler promised the city, the 2020s aren't going to be about hunting down a World Series. He was looking for multiple.
There was a plural on that.
And it's not like Machado's getting any younger. The Bogaerts contract, unfortunately, even though he has been playing better the last couple weeks, isn't going anywhere. So might as well buy. I think the only thing you do is buy or sell. I think holding is the worst thing you could do. Not doing anything. It's like either try to sell off some assets if they suck the next couple weeks and try to recoup some of this back, or because this team currently constructed, I don't think can win a World Series, but with a couple added pieces, they maybe could. But we'll see what they get into at the deadline.
I'm not trying to middle you here, Sammy, but I am in wait and see mode. I really want to see what this team does down the stretch heading toward the deadline. And if I'm AJ Preller, what I see, if there's fire in the bellies, I'm going to tend to this roster and sow the seeds of the future, or near future, that I'm hoping results in a playoff run. If I don't see it, then I think I'm going to do what you just said, which is, hey, we got to make some moves and free up some either draft space or cap space.
Go back in time to the Padres month 1. That Padres team, there was fire in the bellies. Yeah. I mean, that team you looked at and went, there's something special here. Yeah. Something works. The recipe works. And it's been year after year, season after season, where you went, whatever the recipe is, it's just not working out. And you got all the collection of players this season that seemed like it was going to make a good recipe. I don't know. Did they cool off?
Lightning round. What's the last story here?
Aaron Rodgers says it's his final season on the Pat McAfee show 2 days ago. What are your thoughts of this? Do you think the Steelers made a mistake even signing him, bringing him in?
No, I don't think they did. I think it's going to prove to be a good decision. More on that in a little bit. Your thoughts, TV?
No. This is good for the Steelers. They need someone. But I said this before he went to the Jets too. So I don't know. Prove me wrong, Aaron.
Yeah, it is a good point. Sammy, what do you think? Is it going to end up being a net positive or a net negative?
I think for their options, it's better than Mason Rudolph, but I just don't know for a guy who's been concerned about him being locked in the past with darkness retreats and things of that sort. Now he's talking about already retiring. How locked in is he for this season? I don't know.
All right. You're
he's not going to give you 2 years though. Look at the guy.
It's going to be an interesting path. It always is with Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be an interesting next few hours here on San Diego Sports 760. You're listening to the Fletch Zone. I'm Big Rich. Alongside me, TD. We got Sammy Long as usual. And coming up, a surprising list that includes your favorite QBs. That's next on the Fletch Zone. Sports 760. It's Big Rich here. I got TD next to me. in the production studio behind the glass, and we got to keep him behind glass because he's so sexy. It's Sammy Long. Our iHeart Music Festival is also back. Not only our voices here on San Diego Sports 760, but we're going to have live performances by Bryan Adams, Ed Sheeran, John Fogerty, Mariah Carey, Maroon 5, Sammy Hagar, The Offspring, Tim McGraw, so many more. That's September 19th and 20th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. Okay, as promised, we've got this long list of quarterbacks. This is going to be specifically interesting to many of you out there. But before we get to that, 70470, start your message at team. The text messages have begun flowing in.
Shout out to Marcos and PB saying he missed us here on 760 and the Fletch Zone rules. The 858 saying if you're AJ Preller, don't you have to buy to save your job?
Yeah, AJ Preller is getting a little bit long in the tooth. We're going to be catching up with Kevin Acey here in just 10 minutes, and we're going to get the scoop on that because the trade deadline, she's approaching really quickly. So, yeah, might be in hot water, maybe tepid, maybe warm.
The Padres might be too cheap to fire AJ Preller, though.
It is possible. It is possible because they'd have to pay out the rest of his contract, and look, in sports like football, you cut a player, you're off the hook. You cut a coach, you're paying them. In baseball, with the players and the coaches, doesn't matter at what point you're in the contract. You got to pay the rest of that sucker out. That's the reason why you see a lot of bad contracts get swapped around the league. Sometimes even at the managerial level or the front office level, those things happen too. Okay, we're going to get back to MLB. We stop over in the NFL. Divisions ranked by QB talent. If I were to ask you guys point blank, what do you think is the worst division in terms of the quarterback talent? What would you say? Knee-jerk reaction, sight unseen. The NFL.com has a list out, but if you were going to just say this division is almost not interesting with how little QB talent it is, which one would that be?
Man, oh man. No. What's your gut?
I would go NFC South because the Saints are a dumpster fire. We don't know what's going on there. They have 3 quarterbacks. Rattler's potentially coming in.
Tyler
Shuck from Louisville. So he could be good. Penix, I think, has talent, but we haven't seen him. We saw him for 2-3 games at the end of the season last year. Bryce Young, I guess, kind of came on toward the end of that year after the Chiefs game kind of changed his whole career trajectory. They were probably looking for a quarterback before then, but I don't see that division that's why that division's been so bad for so long. They just don't have an elite quarterback kind of dominating it.
I will say Mayfield he's talented. He's not eye-popping, unfortunately. Maybe that's partially from being in Tampa and Cleveland before that, the 2 places where he's played the most football. But he is talented, and when he's surrounded by talent, he gets a lot of good things done. What about you, TD? What division in terms of the talent is least interesting to you?
I'm probably agreeing with Sammy here. It's the NFC South, or at least, yeah, probably. I'm looking talent wise, NFC South. I guess least interesting. Man, least interesting. I start to go to NFC East when I get least interesting, but I get least interested in Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson for some reason. But the Giants just seem so stale to me. It's just boring.
I'm going to give you a division that I think probably has the least amount of talent because of the amount of inexperience or, frankly, lack of health that they've struggled with over the course of now a handful of years. Of the past 5 years, the AFC South has been a disaster.
Yeah.
It has been a disaster. When you look at the Tennessee Titans, it's been a whole lot of blah. And I think Mike Vrabel did as best he could. But it was all about Derrick Henry when he was there for a time. And now they move on to the new draft pick there. You got Cam Ward with the first overall pick. Inexperienced. And then you look at the Indianapolis Colts. You have Daniel Jones backing up Anthony Richardson. Richardson's got shoulder problems, and Daniel Jones was, plain old awful leaving New York. CJ Stroud, it's been up and it's been a little bit down. And so I'm very curious to see what he looks like in Houston next year. And then Trevor Lawrence, with the injuries and the poor offensive line play, we haven't seen him reach his potential since he was dubbed to be the next Andrew Luck when the Jacksonville Jaguars got him in the draft and then paid him like he was the next elite quarterback.
Well, that's the key word, AFC South. It's potential. There's so much potential there, but it just hasn't paid out. Yet Trevor Lawrence has been so lackluster, where he looked like he should have been so good, and it's just fallen off. CJ Stroud kind of had the sophomore slump.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's some inexperience there. Daniel Jones, poof.
I heard Cowherd earlier talking about Jalen Hurts versus CJ Stroud. And it sounds crazy. He was defending CJ Stroud. Now I feel like that's kind of asinine because Jalen Hurts did just win a Super Bowl and CJ Stroud has won what? One playoff game, 1 or 2 playoff games?
Won his whole career.
One. So, but like, that's why I'd take like Stroud, I think, is one of the last young quarterbacks who's an elite pocket passer. I guess you could say Burrow, but he kind of is a little mobile at times when he needs to be. That division's interesting. I just think, I think Trevor Lawrence could pop this year with Hunter there and Brian Thomas.
Man, my trust factor with Trevor Lawrence is gone. I don't know. Just lost it.
Let's move on to the best division in terms of quarterback talent. This one seems like an obvious one, but maybe there's some hidden gems if you're looking at some of the star-studded quarterback casts, depending on where you look. We'll start with you, TD. If there is a division that you would say strikes you as the most talented at the QB position, which one would it be?
I'm liking the AFC North. I mean, Aaron Rodgers sitting as a Pittsburgh Steeler right now. It's hard for me to bet against him. I know he was terrible out in New York. I mean, it was an awful showing, but he's still Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still Aaron Rodgers. So do I bet against the guy out in Pittsburgh? I can't do it. I foresee a good season if the guy can stay healthy. I can't see another disaster.
So AFC North is what TD says. Sammy, what about you? Most talented QB division?
I like that one. That's solid. You obviously have 2 superstars in Burrow and Lamar. You still got Rodgers there. I mean, no Cleveland.
And Joe Flacco's elite.
Hey, won a Super Bowl.
Elite.
But I mean, the AFC West, you got to talk about, obviously, Mahomes, Herbert, even though he's come up short in the playoffs. I do think a lot of that has been coaching. Brendan Staley thought he was reinventing the wheel by going for it every time on his own 20. Bo Nix looks like a lot of potential. And Geno Smith probably doesn't get enough credit that he deserves.
He had run back.
Yeah. I don't want to take, I don't know if it's your pick, but the NFC West, and this is not, I'm been on record. I'm not a Brock Purdy fan. I think he's a decent quarterback. I think Stafford's a star.
He's a star.
Sam Darnold, I think it's just been completely written off after last year being in the MVP conversation until the end of the year. And Kyler Murray's a guy who a couple of years ago was in the MVP conversation. And if they surrounded more around him, I think that they could be a lot more talented.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Kyler Murray have a complete season. I haven't seen it yet.
This is going to sound like it's so completely out of left field, but don't sleep on the AFC East. Now, obviously the AFC West with Herbert and Nix, who had a strong rookie showing, and Geno Smith, I think, is going to look great in a Chip Kelly offense with Pete Carroll as the coach. They're going to ask him to manage games like they did with Russell Wilson when he was the Seahawks head coach, and Justin Herbert is great, and Patrick Mahomes is great. I look at the AFC East, and I love Drake May. I really think he's a gamer. I watched him in college. I called the game when he was playing at UNC in the Holiday Bowl. I watched it in person. This dude can play. He can flat out play. And I think as the Patriots get better, so will he. I think Mike Vrabel is the perfect hire for the Patriots right now. Tua is a solid quarterback when he has a surrounding cast. The Miami Dolphins could be another team that went into a lull and they could come out of it. Josh Allen, obviously, always in the MVP conversation, won it last year. And then you look at Justin Fields with the Jets. This may be the best quarterback the Jets have had in terms of fit in like a decade because he can do so much outside of the pocket. It really stresses defenses. And if they highlight that instead of forcing him to make hard decisions in the pocket, I'm telling him read one route and run.
Do you think he's this year's Sam Darnold?
I don't want to go that far. I don't think he's going to be in the MVP conversation, but I do think he's going to astound people with how much better, because everybody's remembering, oh, the Chicago Bears stunk. Well, Justin Fields didn't stink. The Chicago Bears stunk out loud, but I thought there was some potential there. And then he becomes a backup with Pittsburgh. I think this is going to be a very different looking Jets offense. They'll sneak up on people, especially early in the season.
The Miami Dolphins with Tua, I like Tua. I like the guy. I feel like they are Humpty Dumpty. They are getting ready to fall off that wall and shatter. I feel like that team's going to fall apart.
All right.
Love that.
It is San Diego Sports 760. You're listening to the Fletch Zone. The Fletch Zone is with me, Big Rich, over here, TD. They call him Touchdown, Travis Dale.
Golly.
A heavy petter. And of course, you've got
I use my hands.
Sammy Extra Long behind the glass. He's riding the levels. God, is he
His
riding?
hair is so feathered today. Man.
We have a lot of questions for our very best friend in the whole wide world. His name is Kevin Acey. He's our Padres insider right here on San Diego Sports 760. Make that axe cry. We have some questions for you, Kev. Like this. What are the Padres going to do at the trade deadline? Are they buyers or sellers?
Also this. What are you wearing?
Yeah. Is it something satin?
You got a cute little outfit for the radio?
Is it something silky? Does it have frills? We don't know. Is it something I've never seen
You
before?
know what? It's this phone call, so it could be nothing.
Hot dang! Wow! All right, Kevin Acey joining us next at San Diego Sports 760, the Fletch Zone.
This report is sponsored by Payday. In the NBA draft last night, Cooper Flagg became a Dallas Maverick after having minus 50,000 odds in Vegas to get him. Dylan Harper's number 2 to the San Antonio Spurs, and Ace Bailey got picked at number 5 to the Utah Jazz, despite him not really wanting to go there. And the Lakers have traded up from number 55 in tonight's draft to number 45 with Chicago Bulls for cash considerations and that 55th overall pick. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you, so grab one now to power you through the day. Payday peanut caramel bar. Get to it.
With the Dolly Parton version.
I thought this was the normal version. This is a cool version.
This is Dolly Parton.
I love this so much. Let it ride, Sammy. San Diego Sports 760. We're gonna let Crew and Dollywood breathe for a second here.
Yeah. We're not vamping trying to get a hold of Kevin Acee either.
No, definitely not. He would never ghost us.
Nope. Not our best friend in the whole wide world.
No, and by the way, that has never happened once.
We did text him and it said notifications have been silenced.
I texted the literal bleep out of him.
Yeah, and you wrote that.
I did.
Yeah.
I was like, we are calling the literal bleep out of you right now, and he did not pick up.
That's bunk, man.
That is bunk, man.
Game we used to play here.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. Who knows? Rumored to be deceased at this point. Just making things up.
What if he actually was dead?
Oh, God. I pray. Kevin,
awful.
for the love of Pete, could you please call the station so we know you haven't croaked?
Have to do a wellness check.
Oh, my gosh.
Can we talk about Lauren Sanchez at the wedding?
Oh, with Jeff Bezos.
I mean, here she is in a gold dress.
Holy smokes.
She's looking good.
She looks like a trophy. Literally, she's in
trophy wife.
She's in a gold dress. She looks like a trophy wife.
He looks very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
He looks like he's saying in this picture, I did it. And guess what?
He did.
So did we.
Look at that. Cue up the Fletch Zone music.
Joining us for the first time on the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long, it's our Padres insider and our best friend, Kevin Acee. He writes for the UT, but most famously made appearances on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch when they were heard on the airwaves right here in the mornings on San Diego Sports 760, the free iHeartRadio app. And here he is. Kevin, we have so many Padres questions to ask you.
Yeah, but first, when you join the Fletch Zone, we got to ask Kevin, what are you wearing right now?
Blue boxers, that's about it.
That sounds hot.
I had to get in the mood. I had to get ready.
Just blue Dockers, nothing underneath, shirtless. Kevin Acee joining the Fletch Zone.
God. I mean, just think about how much chafing is going to occur if he's just wearing just Dockers for the rest of
It's incredible.
for the rest of the day. Like, I mean, I hope
want to go on a record. I want to go on a record. State I do not own a pair of Dockers. I'm wearing blue boxers.
Oh, blue boxers.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that does make more sense. Also sexier.
Let me ask this question. Kevin. Button or no button?
Oh yeah. Was it just opened up?
Yeah, no button. I mean, God, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any button. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. If there is, it's unbuttoned. I mean, I don't know, man.
He's basically telling us even if there is a button, he's leaving it unbuttoned.
That's exactly what he said. This is incredible.
That's what I'm saying.
And by the way,
that's what I'm saying.
This is the kind of information you're only going to get on the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long.
Wow.
So, besides being a sex symbol, Kevin Acee, also writer for the UT, well known for his coverage of the Padres. He's been on the beat for years. This guy works harder than virtually anybody on the planet. I mean, we've spied on him at Padres games. We've made him terribly uncomfortable during those experiences. But Kevin, from your vantage point, Padres, who are by all stretches of the imagination looking like a 500 club right now. I mean, you look at their numbers, their run differential, you look at so many different things. You can tally it on your fingers, on your toes. they're a 500 ball club. What the hell are they going to do at the trade deadline? Are they going to be buyers or sellers?
Well, they're going to be buyers. I mean, things could change before the trade or before the trade deadline. We got a little bit more than a month, and you're right. They're at that point where their record says, "Oh, they're buyers," and then you watch them and you say, "Huh, does this team really have it?" Well, like they can't not have it. They can't afford to not be a contender, and it does make sense. They've got players that have been good. You got some players who need to play better. So yeah, they're buyers, but I'm with you. It's a really, really precarious situation they're in.
Kevin, are you going to be buyers of some Cincinnati chili when you head out to Cincinnati? Are you there right now?
Oh, the Skyline chili? Yeah. I can't remember if he likes Skyline chili or not.
He says it's terrible.
No, you don't remember.
No.
I remember.
I feel like I insulted Travis last time. Like this is almost personal, or maybe it is wholly personal. But it's garbage. It's garbage. I don't even like to talk about it. I'm upset you brought it up.
It's Mediterranean spiced meat sauce, Kevin. How could it be bad?
Is that what it is?
I don't know. That's what it says on Wikipedia.
One of those things. You know how there's certain things you do in life and you go, "Oh, I'm doing this again," and then the other way it goes is you do something and you go, "Oh, I will do this again if I'm being held hostage."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what you said about calling into the show, though.
Yeah, that's true. And then all of a sudden you slip into some fancy blue boxers and turns out you're talking to us.
Ring.
I'm fully closed now, by the way. You guys ruined it with the Dockers thing. I'm fully closed now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that we ruined it. I really am. And honestly, more for our listeners than for us. Kevin Acey joining us, our Padres insider, San Diego Sports 760. You're listening to the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long. Sammy extra long when it's the Fletch Zone.
My guy.
Yeah, no question about it.
My man.
Hey, let me ask this question. So trade deadline, got to be buyers. Okay, so you invest. You do what you do at the trade deadline, but things spiral. Like the Padres, I don't know. It doesn't go the way any of us are hoping. How long in the tooth is AJ Preller? And I know I'm not going to sit here and call for a job. I think Preller's done a good job. I like AJ Preller. I know that might be an unpopular opinion during a season like this season has gone so far. I think fans can waffle on this. In Preller, I trust. But in terms of what you're feeling from the organization, is there any further pressure on AJ Preller with how this season ends?
Let me answer you this. Travis, have you ever noticed that Rich does that? That he doesn't just ask a question, he tells you he's going to ask a question?
Yeah, well, he's a journalist or something like that, Kevin.
A little bit. It's a little bit of a preamble.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly,
professional.
I like to give you time to collect your thoughts. I don't want to catch you flat-footed.
I was thinking that's what it was. Yeah. I was thinking that's what it was. I think this is a kind gesture.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I feel like you're trying to skate around and answer right now, Kevin.
Sometimes
maybe pin you in a corner.
Sometimes people answer the phone in their boxers and they're like, "Hey, just give me a second so I can put on some clothing." And that's kind of the way I felt about the question about AJ Preller's time left with the Padres. Tick tick, Kevin. Tick tick.
Yeah, look, it's a valid question because you can come up with all sorts of reasons that AJ has messed up, right? Then you can say, this guy has just hustled and made this an exciting team that has the city excited, and that, gosh, last year was whatever, and I'm holding my fingers really close together, was this far away from, being the team that the Dodgers are now, which is, every night their announcer says 47 times, and defending World Series champions. I mean, you could be having that at Petco. And so, it is a valid question because it's like, hey, dude, this is your mess. Right. And if we're this close to it being, hey, they're buyers and like, here you go to the playoffs again, we're saying, but we don't really know who they are, then we're also this close to saying, hey, this is your mess. Look, his contract runs through 2026. I do think that last year bought him a lot. And I think that we're not going to have to worry about this. But if it does crash, man, it's going to be a question.
The New York Times today. The Padres have ample reason to regret trading for Juan Soto. AJ Preller insists he doesn't. Was that a bad trade? Was it a mistake in the beginning to have the trade go down for Soto?
You can say two things. You can say they lost the trade, and then you can say that it was a good trade. Because look, if you want to look at it right now and say what do they have because of it? Well, Michael King's on the sideline. You can try to argue they have Michael King. They have Randy Vasquez. They have Dylan Cease, who's not pitching great and costing them a lot of money, and he'll be gone after this year. They didn't go to the World Series or win a World Series with Juan Soto. And, oh my goodness, the Nationals were just in town, and we got to see that they have James Wood. It looks like he's going to be really good for a long time. And they have CJ Abrams. Looks like he's going to be pretty good for a long time. And Mackenzie Gore looks like he's going to be really good for a long time. Man, the Padres got, that they just got taken on this trade. What did that do for them? Well, they went to the National League Championship Series in 2022. They filled the ballpark. Juan Soto came here and for Juan Soto standards wasn't good. Like he was, he's probably statistically their best player, but he wasn't the Juan Soto he was in Washington or the Juan Soto he's been in New York. Mm-hmm. And so, put this on Juan Soto a little bit too. And without Juan Soto, they don't go to the National League Championship Series probably. And, I just feel like it was a trade that you had to do. It just didn't work out.
Gosh, I miss this so much. I mean, nobody covers the Padres like Kevin Acee covers the Padres. It makes me yearn for a beat writer. Like, I wish that Big Rich TV and Fletch mornings on 101.5 KGB had Kevin Acee just observing us from the upper deck, just staring down on us and just, I don't know, just critiquing our performances.
Well, Kevin, our text line wants to ask you, are they silk boxers?
Ooh, it's a good question. What kind of fabric are we dealing with? Are you maybe a twill guy? We don't know.
Yeah, that's going to have to be left to the imagination. I think that's more like KGB kind of stuff.
No, you know what I feel like?
Didn't really.
You know what? Seersucker. Yeah. Am I wrong? Am I wrong, Kevin?
How did you know?
Come on. I know my Kevin. I know my Kevbo. When are we getting dressed up like cowboys and going out to dinner again?
Again. I love how you say again. Only in our minds, Kevin. San Diego Sports 760's very own Padre insider, Kevin Acee. He's got to skedaddle. He's got to hit the old dusty trail. He's got to down some Skyline chili.
We missed you, Kevin.
We missed you a lot.
And I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I missed you guys. I mean, I get to talk to Fletch, but how cool is that? I forgot how much I missed the dynamic of the three of you guys together.
We love you.
I did.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
We love you, Kevin.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wait.
Maybe we'll do this again. Maybe we'll do this again.
We love you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
All right.
You know what? Maybe we will do it again, Kevin.
A little bit of a tease there.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave you. I don't want to just give it away. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't give it away.
That's right. He likes the chase.
He certainly does.
And so do we.
San Diego Sports 760 Padres Insider. You're listening to the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, my companion here. And of course, Sammy extra long. We are going to react to one specific answer Kevin gave us. That's coming up next on San Diego Sports 760, the Fletch Zone. 760. You're listening to the Fletch Zone with me, Big Rich, alongside me, TD. On the other side of the glass, apropos to the Fletch Zone, it's Sammy Extra Long today. We just spoke with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, and normally at this time we have long shots, which is a betting segment. Instead, we're going to do a betting segment. I mean, BEDDING. Speaking about betting, how about Kevin Acee revealing to us that he was in his boxer shorts when
he offered that right up.
He is super hot, that Kevin Acee. No, look, he is a Padres insider. He's also hot. But he said something specifically interesting, and we probably don't have enough time to really dive all the way in on this yet. And maybe we will with the coach, John Quintero, who will join us in hour 2. But holy smokes, we asked him flat out, does AJ Preller have job security? And the way he responded was, oh, that's a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
Which means no.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what that
When
means.
somebody doesn't say, oh yeah, AJ Preller's safe, which he has answered that question with in the past. I've asked it many times over our years covering the Padres here on San Diego Sports 760 with the many conversations we've had with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee. And there have been several times where he said, oh yeah, AJ Preller's safe. He's not going anywhere, blah, 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 blah. But look, this is a different Padres front office. It's not Peter Seidler. He's not protected by somebody who had literally invested all of his faith in his vision. This team is built in AJ Preller's vision, and it has not net yet what they were hoping, which was World Series plural.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make sense to me that he couldn't answer that question with a yes.
He did say that last season's success did buy him some time, but
sure.
did it buy him this season?
And it's like the one thing I'll stick up for Preller with is that this team, if they didn't sign Nick Pivetta to that kind of team-friendly contract where they upped it at the end of the year and in the last couple of years, and Gavin Sheets, this team would be sitting 4th in the division just ahead of the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have been 2 of the MVPs that they have not given him enough money to realistically go out and spend for this team because they totally cut back after the Bogarts contract, and he's kind of found some diamonds in the rough. So I got to give Preller that, but I hear you with that question that it does seem like he's kind of been invincible, and that conversation starting to come up.
Yeah, I got to side with you. He's done it year after year, season after season. He has found a way to find players who have come through in the clutch and been the heroes, been the stars to pull this team out of what seemed like a rut.
All right, we'll get back to the Padres with the coach, John Quintero, in hour 2 of the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Fletch right here. Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long right here on San Diego Sports 760. My apologies to the longest producer in the game, Sammy Long. But coming up next hour, okay, we will talk to the coach. The NBA's biggest problem revealed last night, and also which QB has the most pressure on him this season in the NFL. We'll answer all of that coming up next. It's Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long, the Fletch Zone.
This sport is sponsored by Rapid Radios. SDFC won over Vancouver in Vancouver 5-3 last night. Milan Oloski had 4 goals on the night. They're currently atop the table in the Western Conference. And the Padres start a series tomorrow at 4:10 Friday night in Cincinnati, taking on the Reds. Both are vying for a wild card spot currently right now. Nick Martinez will be going for Cincinnati, while Dylan Cease will be going for San Diego. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com. You'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio, get extra 5% off.
San Diego Sports 760. It's not the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, he's gone on vacation. And so the name of the show for the day, at least, the Flesh.
I think
Zone.
it's going to be changed permanently.
You think?
Yes.
I want some man meat.
Yeah. And man meat you shall have.
The king has spoken.
We have tons to offer you. This hour, we are going to be diving headlong into the biggest problem the NBA has. It was revealed last night. Also, pressure situation, which quarterback is in the pressure cooker the worst in the NFL this upcoming season. We're going to have a Fletch roast later on. And
I think our co-host, Kit Kat Fisher, is going to stop by.
She's going to stop by this hour. Yeah, I mean, I like my Fletch medium rare. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But I
A
could
little
be,
plus size.
I think he's going to end up well done.
Yeah.
But we're also going to be talking to the coach, John Quintera. He's going to join us on the program as well. The Flesh Zone with myself, Big Rich, alongside me, TD, and Sammy Long on the ones and twos, riding the levels here. So yeah, speaking of quarterbacks this upcoming season, we went through the NFL.com had this list of all of the quarterbacks ranked by division, and then within their division ranked also by QB index. When you look at all these divisions and all these quarterbacks, and you're starting to think about the upcoming season, which QBs or QB, if there's one that stands alone at the top of your list, would you say is under the most pressure to perform this season?
I think you got a couple you got to look at. I think Josh Allen is one of them. I mean, I think he performs season after season, but you got to bring home a championship, man. The other one is Lamar Jackson. Same situation. He is a baller, but you gotta get a ring here. You got to do something.
To that point, TD, I get frustrated with how Lamar Jackson doesn't get a pass. Lamar Jackson gets crushed when he loses in the playoffs, and Josh Allen, for some reason, having lost to Mahomes 4 different times, when multiple times it felt like the betting spread said that he was better. Vegas said they had the better team, has lost every time. I like both of those. I think Justin Herbert's also one. And I'm a Justin Herbert believer, but it seems like because of Brandon Staley, people have kind of given him a pass those years, which I think some of that was fair due to Brandon Staley not being a very good head coach. Last year, then it was he didn't have enough weapons, even though he had Harbaugh. Well, this year he's kind of got everything. They brought Mike Williams back. They got that kid Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. Like at some point, every time there's been a big game, Herbert has lost it, whether it be the Raider game or the comeback in Jacksonville. He has to win at some point.
You know, you guys are looking at this, I think, through the perspective of like winning and playoffs. And I mean, that is a perspective that I share as well, but also from a personal standpoint, you know, for the player himself, when you're evaluating where you're at in your career and where you're at specifically in your contract, that is also where the pressure comes from. So yeah, team success is important for that. As we know, you just mentioned a couple of names that really could use a big win, whether it be a conference championship under their belts or potentially a Super Bowl win under their belts. How about a guy like Tua Tagovailoa, you know, who signed a big contract a couple of years ago, but that contract's starting to look a little stale.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
What about, and by the way, and signed at the same time Jalen Hurts signed his contract. Jalen Hurts just won his first Super Bowl.
True.
And so you start thinking about like, you start staring over the fence at your peers. You're like, like this is not going as well for me as it is for them. So I could see Tua having an issue this season. If he starts going down, you're going to hear trade talks. Kyler Murray's another name that comes to mind. He signed that extension off his rookie contract back in 2022.
And 2 teams, by the way, that Miami people forget 2 years ago were the number 2 seed, so Buffalo knocked him out in the last game of the season down to the 6 when they beat him in Miami. And then last year, kind of give him a pass because Tua got hurt. They went on a little bit of a tear there down the stretch. Cardinals were the same thing. Remember, they had the best record in the NFC, and the Rams slaughter them in LA in the playoffs. So it's like these are 2 teams that you thought were kind of on the upward trajectory and then just took a massive halt, kind of like Jacksonville as well.
And yeah, Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, now granted, he gets the more recent big contract, but there's a lot to prove there. I look at some of these inflated contracts, and Brock Purdy will be staring this down if he doesn't accomplish what he's been destined, it seems, to accomplish since he's been named the starter with the San Francisco 49ers. If he doesn't end up winning a championship, if he doesn't end up winning a Super Bowl, the Niners are going to look at this contract in 2 years and say, hey, we have to start shopping a trade, or we have to potentially start talking about knocking his salary down in some way by, extending him, but, giving him a little bit of a salary haircut. Now, some quarterbacks are compliant with that. Most aren't. And so usually we're talking about trade. That is the path that a lot of these guys walk, and it's not necessarily their fault. There's a lot of other players on the field, including a defense, not just the offensive players that they share the field with, a defense as well. And if they're not performing as a quarterback, you can only do so much.
Between those 3 for you guys, who do you think is the most likely to break out between T-Law, Kyler, and Tua? Who do you have the most faith in?
I'd probably go Law on it. Yeah, just because that's the one I would want to gamble on. Yeah, I'd probably.
Yeah. Okay. Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if I'm as big a believer in what's happening in Jacksonville. I think there's a lot,
and I'm not a believer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Kyler Murray again. I've mentioned this before. Complete a season. I mean, the guy's got about 8 weeks in him.
I think though, I like the Jonathan. I'm a believer in Jonathan Gannon. I think as a defensive minded head coach. I don't want to make a direct comp because I don't think it's fair, but he reminds me a little bit of like a Pete Carroll type. I don't think he puts as much on Kyler's plate as past regimes have. And as a result of that, I really feel like Kyler could be one of those surprises, especially in an NFC West with an aging Stafford, with a Brock Purdy who's coming off his only down year and a lot to prove with a giant contract, a lot more pressure on his plate if he allows it to creep up on him. And obviously a little bit more of a barren ingredients list in terms of his offensive teammates.
I think to that too is impressive with Gannon, how you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and everyone says this guy's the next Jerry Rice. This guy's a can't miss prospect. There were some problems out there in Phoenix. He had some really big games, some games he's non-existent. There were some locker room troubles. And to be able to manage that, being a rookie head coach, not let that just kind of overtake the team, I was impressed with that as well.
So let me throw this out there. As a former NFL player, Rich, and as a huge Chiefs fan over there, Sammy Long, Patrick Mahomes, if this team starts to falter and all of a sudden they're not in an AFC championship game, they're not in a Super Bowl, maybe they make the playoffs, but it doesn't go well, he doesn't have a great season, all of a sudden the GOAT status, that talk starts to taper off. Does that start to weigh on him?
But in terms of the most pressure, I mean, that hand is heavy with Super Bowl rings. You know what I mean? And so even though from, again, a personal standpoint, super competitive guy, obviously he wouldn't be in the position if he wasn't. And he has extraordinarily high expectations for himself and his teammates. I just don't think there's as much career pressure on him as some of the other guys mentioned.
But not just career pressure. We're talking pop culture pressure. I mean, it's
right, you're talking about legacy pressure.
Legacy pressure, but look, every camera is on the Chiefs because of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
That's why being a Chiefs fan, I didn't love all the GOAT talk. I mean, you're talking about Brady, who's won 7, who, even though it makes me sick, did beat Mahomes at a Super Bowl. And I think beating another quarterback at a Super Bowl means a little less than NBA Finals, where you're talking about you're guarding each other the whole time. If LeBron and Kobe ever met or something like that, which didn't happen, but Brady, I didn't like the pressure they put on Patrick with that. It's like, let Patrick's career finish and then debate whether he's the GOAT. Like, of course he's not the GOAT right now. He has 4 less Super Bowls than Tom Brady. Like,
got a lot of less seasons yet.
Not a lot of less seasons. So if you want to say he could potentially be that with the talent and the pace he was on a faster pace than Brady, you don't know. So I hear what you're saying with that, but I think that talk needs to be taken out right now.
Now, normally on the Fletch Zone, we hit up the big three right here, but we're going to table it for a moment because it's a really fascinating conversation about quarterbacks. And Sammy, you were the one who brought this to the table in the first place. You're like, hey, we should probably talk about this. And it's more fascinating than I even thought because another name has emerged in my brain, and it's Dak Prescott. I mean, Dak Prescott, if you want to talk about pressure, I mean, he is the dang Dallas Cowboys quarterback, has been for a decade now, has gotten everything he's asked for from this organization. If you look at the offensive talent he's played with over the course of his career, that offense has been littered with Pro Bowlers, and that defense has been stout at different times. He's played behind the best offensive line or one of the top 5 offensive lines at different times over the course of his storied career. And Dak Prescott still has yet to bring Jerry Jones's team to the promised land.
And look at his own division. Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels in one season accomplished more than Dak Prescott's whole career by going on the road 2 times and winning playoff games as underdogs. Dak Prescott has 2 playoff wins his entire career. And Jackson Dart, who knows the wild card, maybe he's really good, maybe he sucks. Who knows? But the Giants are getting better at some point, right? CD gets paid, Micah's going to get paid. It's on the stars, and they're not performing.
Well, though, 2 seasons ago, Dallas was just putting up 50 points a game throughout the season, just dominating.
Yeah,
and then the
Niners
playoffs
rolled in there and beat 'em.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just constant with Dak Prescott's career. Like you said, Sammy, when he gets to those pressure-filled moments, it either falls apart around him or Dak Prescott lays an egg. We've seen it so many times, whether it's big games or it's playoff games, the record is the record. Now, I don't love the QB wins and losses metric. I don't think it's fair to just leave the bag hanging on the quarterback for all of the troubles of a team in a single game or over the course of a season. It is the only position in all of sports where wins and losses are directly hung on a player. It's the only player in football, certainly. It's just, but he has underperformed in some of those moments. It's haunting him at this point. It's haunting the Dallas Cowboys and their fans.
How about the new $1 million man here, Brock Purdy? All of a sudden, he's getting paid.
Don't tell Fletcher.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But Brock Purdy, who played, I would say, over his skis. I mean, he was playing above average, but he wasn't pulling in any cash. So if you playing above average and not costing any money, all of a sudden you look real good. If you're real expensive and don't really perform,
and we can get to the other side because I totally agree with that. Every Niner fan was talk about how, well, the team was hurt last year. Well, guess what? The team that you're going to have this year is closer to the team that was hurt than the team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago because you lost Trey Greenlaw, you lost Hufanga, you lost Deebo Samuel, you lost your backup left tackle and Jalen Moore. Everyone's gone. So we're going to see if Brock Purdy is what he's made of, and good luck.
You're listening to San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long. And AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future. But we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now, right now, to support and keep the support coming to AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in your cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Okay, John Quintana in 15 minutes. We are going to be discussing the biggest problem facing the NBA coming up next. And a surprise guest has just walked through the door.
Meow.
It's the Fletch
Meow,
Zone
meow, meow.
with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long, and our surprise guest next. San Diego Sports 760. We are live on the free iHeartRadio app. It's the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long. And alongside us for the first time over the past hour and 20 minutes it's been since we've taken to the microphones here in the sports studio, our co-host from mornings on 101.5 KGB, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, Kat Fisher, has entered the building.
It's about time. You know, I should probably turn this camera over. People don't want to see me.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we should turn both of our cameras. We just need two shots of Kat. So
it's good to be here, you guys. You know, usually Fletch and I are both here at this hour, still working hard, and the two of you are long gone.
What do you call
by
it?
the time we get into the afternoon?
What do you call it?
Working hard.
Work? Never heard of it.
Oh my gosh, Long Gone was almost the name of the show. Sammy, Long Gone. We have two. If you go over to YouTube and check out the Fletch Zone, we have two cameras on Kat now.
Right.
So that's
Feels a little invasive.
Well, okay.
Now it's
and
three.
now it's going to go 3 cameras
We've
on
got
Kat.
3 different angles on Kat Fisher. Kat, we were about to get into the NBA draft last night. Did you watch any of the coverage at all?
You know, I'm like TD. I did not know it was happening.
Yeah, I didn't know it was happening until this morning. And as I looked at it, I thought, what's Portland doing? I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
They're just going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you something. The NBA has an enormous problem, and the NBA draft, I think, proved it last night, and it's going to continue. Their biggest problem, in my opinion, it's something Sammy and I were chopping up here at the break. It's the fact that name, image, and likeness money is flowing in a major way for these college basketball stars. And when I say stars, they're not coming out of Duke. They're not just coming out of UNC. They're not just coming out of Kentucky. You know, some of the Blue Bloods or UCLA, you know, historic programs that have been at the top of college basketball historically or recently. You know, they're coming out of smaller schools who are willing to open up the pocketbooks and pay major dollars for these stars. Here's the problem. A lot of these players do not want to declare early eligibility for the draft. They want to stay in college where they're getting their pockets filled by boosters and donors and local businesses where it's now legal to accept cash in trade for the business of playing basketball at the collegiate level. I think there's going to be a few year gap now where the NBA, these pro teams are going to have to start going international more. And these American made stars that are coming out of the high school system here in our country, they're filtering into college where they're getting easy money, quick money, and they're going to want to stay in college where their pockets are being lined.
Yeah, but don't you think that these college players should stay in college a little bit longer anyway? Like,
I do.
I mean, as an athlete yourself, Rich, you know, you probably could have stayed in school a little longer, gotten a little bit smarter. You know, maybe if you had a 5th year.
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
you know
so
what? Maybe worked out a little
Penn
more,
State
lost a
didn't
little
educate him
weight.
properly?
So
Stop eating.
So two corrections that I need to make right off the cat or the top cat. I did go to school for 5 years.
Oh, you were on the 5-year plan.
Well, some people call
5-year plan.
students who go to college for 5 years doctors. In my case, I'm a Bachelor of Science. But I did earn my degree. I will make this argument. If I played football now, having almost 40 starts at the collegiate level instead of when I played, I would have left college a millionaire, which is a crazy statement to make. But at a big time Big Ten school like Penn State, where we were a good football team, winning Big Ten championships twice over my tenure there, going and playing in the Rose Bowl and things like that. Like, I would have left college as a starting offensive lineman for 3 years, a millionaire. I totally understand why these college players want to stay longer.
Genuinely, like, does it make you frustrated when, like, if you could have gotten, if you were playing today, you were a good college player, you would have gotten paid a lot of money to be playing. Like, does it make you upset that these guys who weren't as good as you or like, just like, I mean, everyone gets paid now.
No, I never feel jealousy. I only feel pride because I feel like the efforts of honestly braver players than me who stuck their neck out to showcase the inequalities in terms of the amount of money these schools and collegiate conferences and executives at the NCAA level and these coaches were making over the years, exploiting free labor from college athletes who stuck their neck out on the line, launched class action lawsuits against the NCAA and won them on our behalf, has only seeded the grounds for this new crop of players who are actually getting paid and enjoying and reaping the fruits of that free labor. I am proud of these guys. I hope they get every dollar owed to them, just like I should have and didn't because I couldn't.
Well, I think that that's true. Like when you look back on things that you kind of miss the mark on because they weren't available at the time. Like I think back to like 2010, I didn't have Instagram. I was doing bottle service. I was playing lingerie football. Like there were so many things that I was doing that I could have gotten Instagram famous, but I didn't have it yet. It wasn't really a thing. I was like 5 years too late.
I love how TD goes, same.
Bottle service,
Who's better
lingerie
at bottle
football.
service, TD or Cat?
Who would be better?
At
Yeah.
bottle service?
If you actually want to get the bottle.
Now or when I was Cat's age? Because I mean, there's a big difference.
You probably would have crafted better drinks. I would just like kind of pour the bottle out in several shot glasses, maybe take a couple with the table, take a few $100s and go to the next table.
They actually called him Travis Bottle Service Dale back in the day. It was TBSD. Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, BFD, dog.
That's
right,
bro.
That's right.
But to your point, Rich, you don't have jealousy of people who are like banking in and cashing in on those things now. You're excited that they have that opportunity. You're like, oh man, maybe it would have been cooler if I grew up in this era where I had that opportunity, but there's no jealousy.
No, and honestly, it's the same way I feel about.
I am jealous. Just to be clear,
I wish I could get paid for playing sports.
Oh my God, I mean, I see these numbers and I am wildly
I'd
jealous.
be like, screw those dudes. None of them should be getting paid.
Oh
'cause
my
I do.
God. Yeah. Come on. Just share the love. I have no discernible talent or athletic skill, but a few dollars would be great.
What is fascinating though, and it truly is, like there are times where if I'm watching a football game and I see a player who I happen to know has earned an incredible fortune in name, image, and likeness, and just because I'm an analyst and I watch college football and professional football very closely for a variety of jobs in that space, there are times where I go, man, that guy is kind of a slug and he is making out like a bandit. And I literally mean a bandit. Like some of these players, they're putting on a bandana and they're like, stick them up. And they're getting their bags filled on their way out of the building. And you know what? There's no hate here for it. The truth is, all of these players, all of them should have been paid what they were owed while they were playing. It's kind of like for the NCAA, honestly, in some ways, you reap what you sow. They're struggling to figure this all out, and they should have came up with a plan. They should have put money away in annuities for players. They could have headed this thing off at the pass, and it wouldn't be the Wild West it is right now. But they truly did not come up with a cohesive plan. They never saw this coming. And steering the conversation back to the NBA draft, I think these problems are coming for the NBA too. And I think there's going to be a lack of domestic interest in the NBA because a lot of these college players are going to want to stay getting paid in college. And you're going to see a lot more guys like the Chinese national basketball player who's being dubbed the new Jokic, who got drafted last night.
John Hansen.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot.
That was the Portland draft.
Yeah.
That was the Portland pick.
You're going to see a lot of players who nobody knows who are going to be catching up with who they actually are.
Well, and that's why the NBA was promoting Flag and Harper and these guys so hard, because last year it was Versace and I mean there's a bunch of French guys going in the top 5 who no one's ever watched before. It's like they need an American-born star to market that.
Exactly.
It sells.
Well, it's a bit of a bummer. I mean, the NBA has a number of problems here, and because I mean, once we get back into season, the NBA has a problem with load management and how long the season is, and maybe how many teams get into the playoffs, and how long these playoffs are, and this weird in-season tournament that I'm not sure when it actually happens unless the court is painted. There's a number of things that I scratch my head at.
It is Big Rich, TD, Cap Fisher stopping by, Sammy Long. It's the Fletch Zone on San Diego Sports 760. And hey, how about this? San Diego FC, they're back on the pitch Saturday night when they play FC Dallas. You can hear the match live Saturday night starting at 5 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home of SDFC. Cat, can you come back for our Fletch roast after we talk to the coach?
I'll hang out, yeah.
Okay, very good, very good. Coach John Quintera, his reaction to what Kevin Acey said. Is AJ Preller's job in jeopardy? That question will be answered coming up next. It's the Fletch Zone. San Diego Sports 760. Live on the free iHeartRadio app. You can find us there. Set us to your presets. It's the Fletch Zone today with Big Rich, myself. Sitting right here alongside me is TD. We got Sammy extra long on the Fletch Zone. He is riding the levels and getting our esteemed guest lined up for us to speak to right now, and it's the coach, John Quintera, familiar with his voice around San Diego for years and years and years on the sports radio airwaves. He joins us here to talk the Padres. First and foremost, Coach, it's great to speak to you. It's been way too long, brother.
Travis, thanks for you and Rich having me on today. You guys got the trifecta down there, throwing in Sammy Long and Fletch getting a little breather. I guess maybe going to Switchfoot the other night in Encinitas. He needs a whole week and a half to recover right now.
Yeah, there's no question. Plus, he's been a drug runner for the Colombian cartel for a very long time, and he got hung up, I believe, in Bolivia with some of that white China. We're hoping that he doesn't get hung up by the fuzz, but we'll see.
He's up in Merced, so he's going to do a little turnaround, make a little money.
Never mind.
Yeah.
He is on vacation. He's visiting home in Merced, California, which I hear is gorgeous in late June. I don't know if you've ever been, Coach, but hey, we just spoke with Kevin Acee earlier, our Padres insider here on San Diego Sports 760, and Coach, we asked him about AJ Preller's job security, and to put it in summation, basically we asked him, is he safe? And Kevin Acee said, hey, you know what? That's a valid question. And then he went on to explain how you could view this through a couple different vantage points. In some ways, AJ Preller's done a nice job. In some ways, you can hang some of these poor decisions around his neck, and you wouldn't be wrong to do it. Where do you land on this? Because if it is a valid question, it means it's not a no, which means it might be a yes, that his job is in jeopardy.
Well, I think, first of all, he's been here a decade, and very few general managers last with a ball club for a decade. They normally get 3 to 5 years, especially if you're not winning. You may not get your 4 or 5. And, he's been here for over a decade, and a variety of different ways to look at this, guys. And I think with Washington being in town this week, there was a lot of things pinpointed at, Mackenzie Gore and C.J. Abrams and James Wood. And they also gave up a couple other, what I call prospects. Robert Hassel III, he did get called up this year, but I was never maybe as high on him as other people were. And they got a young kid that's still trying to make his way to the big league level, who was in that Juan Soto deal, Harlan Susana, who's pitching in Double-A, and got a power arm, but he needs radar to find home plate. Too many walks, but a lot of strikeouts. So we gave up quite a bit for Juan Soto. But a couple of things to look at here. I think number one, Padres knew they had a good ball club. They had the pitching. They thought they felt they needed another offensive weapon. Juan Soto was available. We don't know where Peter Seidler was health-wise at that point in time. He probably had already been a 2-time cancer survivor. Maybe he knew he wasn't going to be around that long, and they rolled the dice and went for it. So that depleted our farm system here in San Diego. There's no question about that. Unfortunately, our farm system right now is not exactly at the top level, of AAA level. We're getting really no help from AAA, and that's another thing. You got to look at all the guys that have been traded away, or they're doing pretty well for other ball clubs now that players have migrated to the big league. So I don't know. And who knows with this ownership? I think John Seidler's in there now. I haven't heard a whole lot from the organization. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes regarding Shield Seidler. And, I think AJ right now is probably trying to figure out how he can get some help either behind the plate or in left field, maybe even on the arm side. But I don't know how much money's available because ownership's been pretty quiet. And so, I think AJ's, I don't think his job's in jeopardy at all. I think the Padres got a good club. I think they can probably find a way to get in at least the third wild card. You get in as the third wild card, anything can happen.
Coach, do you consider over the resume here with AJ Preller with the Padres, do you consider what he's done? Because you use the phrase right now, the sentence, you got 3 to 5 years, especially if you're not winning. Do you consider what he's done winning without World Series?
Well, it's hard to win a World Series. There are a lot of teams. I mean, everybody, you look at the Dodgers until they won the COVID year World Series. They hadn't won a World Series since 1988, and that's a great organization. They do a lot of things right. It's hard to win a World Series, and, we're trying. I mean, AJ's the first 5 years, he was kind of 0 for 5. He didn't have very good ball clubs, and the farm system was barren. And then when we got some guys, he traded them away and kind of rolling the dice here and there. And, they had 2 or 3 different plans. I mean, you could go back to, 2015, prior to that season, they, made the trade for Justin Upton, and we gave away Max Fried. Max Fried right now, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Mackenzie Gore, I know his record's awful, but, he's an outstanding left-handed pitcher. Threw great yesterday against the Padres. We've traded away a lot of really, really good players for short-term fixes here. We had Justin Upton for a year. Granted, he made an all-star team, but he was gone. Juan Soto was here for a year and a half. He's gone. So it is what it is. And but I think, we got a very competitive ball club. We get into a 7-game series. I think we can match up with just about anybody, quite frankly.
Coach, the Padres are tied with the Giants for the last NL wildcard spot. The St. Louis sits a half game back, Cincinnati 2.5, and then the Diamondbacks 3. What team out of those should we be most scared of?
Well, I like the Giants just because they got good pitching. Robbie Ray is pitching like the Cy Young Award winner he was a few years ago. He's completely healthy. And they got Logan Webb. Their bullpen, Doval, imploded last night in the 10th inning against the Marlins. They were tied up 4-4, and they ended up getting beat 8-5 in 10 innings last night. And the Cardinals, I think you take a look, Sammy, at the National League Central. Those guys kind of take turns of beating up one another, but at the end of the day, I think all of them are going to be pretty decent. You got the Cubbies, you got the Cardinals, you got the Milwaukee Brewers. All those teams are going to be in the hunt, I think, until the bitter end. And it really may come down to what ball club is able to bring in a good solid player. I'm not going to say a difference maker or a star player. Like in left field, the Padres just need a good, solid, everyday major league player out there right now. And Gavin Sheets could be the designated hitter. I do think they have to upgrade behind the plate. I think both those guys do a really nice job catching, but you got to get a little bit more offense. And who's to say, who's to go? I would imagine Maldonado would probably be the odd man out. And you're always looking for arms, but I think the Padres can stay in it. It's not going to be easy. They've been up and down and really been a 500 ball club the last couple of months, but getting off to that that hot start is obviously kept them where they're at right now.
No better voice to speak with than the coach, John Quintero, joining us here on San Diego Sports 760, the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, TD, and Sammy Long. So Coach, when I'm going to zoom out a little bit, when you look at this front office and some of the turmoil they faced this spring heading into the season, obviously there's a dispute over ownership. Would you say the future looks bright in terms of maybe the forecast financially for the Padres? Obviously, the pocketbook, it got sutured up a little bit tighter this offseason. Could you see a future where this payroll continues to tumble downward?
I guess. I mean, I really don't know where this ownership is at. I know they've said they want to stay with the ball club and keep the ball club, but I think that remains to be seen. It's very, very quiet right now, and I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. I think until you get a definite answer on who's actually running this ball club long term, short term, we know it's John Seidler and the Seidler family. But where's Shield Seidler? When is their court date? Everything's been so quiet. And I do think there's a little bit of a cloud over the organization regarding that. As much as they've tried to, stay focused on baseball, guys like you and I, we're talking about it. I'm sure other people are talking about it around town. But I got to tell you, the fans, they continue to file into Petco Park and Gallagher Square. I mean, it's unbelievable, really. I mean, you think about it's not cheap going to a ball game. It's not cheap to park. It's not cheap to eat. And on Monday nights, man, you're selling out at 43 and 44,000 people. Somebody's making some money.
Coach, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But Coach, we are staring down the trade deadline, and we got ESPN saying 80% chance of Adolis Garcia getting traded from the Rangers. Top landing spot, the Padres. How do you feel about it? Does it excite you? Do you think it'll happen?
Well, I'll tell you what, it may happen over the July 4th holiday because Boch and the Rangers are going to be in town when the ball club comes back after this road trip. So, it might be a great opportunity for AJ Preller and Chris Young to get together and, talk. And I'm sure they've probably already chatted if this absolutely is already out there. We'll see. He's had a really rough year. In fact, he got sat down for a while. I think he was hitting 8th in the lineup at one point in time. And I don't know, maybe a change of scenery would help him and maybe to get him to, get rolling a little bit. He's a pretty emotional player, but we know the guy, when he's right, can really drive the ball out of the ballpark. That would be a tremendous upgrade. I think you look at Taylor Ward up there with the Angels. He's got 19 home runs right now. He's not a guy that hits for a high average. He's hitting about 211 going into the game last night. He's another possibility out there. So, some teams still think they're in it. They want to be buyers. Some are sellers. But you know what? The teams are the ones that have to push the front office one way or the other. If you're playing good and solid baseball and in the wild card, then the pressure is going to be on to be a buyer. If you're under 500 or not playing good baseball, you're going to be a seller. So we still got, till July 30th to figure out who's doing what. But I got to believe the Padres are going to be buyers.
Coach Quintero has been following the Padres, this team, for decades. Nobody wiser, nobody more knowledgeable about this team. And if you're interested in his takes, you're going to hear a lot more of Coach next week, Wednesday, Thursday, filling for Ben Fletcher on the Fletch Zone. Today, though, we appreciate you and thank you, Coach, for joining the Fletch Zone.
Hey, no problem. And Rich, you're ready, man. Those Aztecs, we got to be better than 3-9 this year. We got to come out of the chute humming against Stony Brook and get that thing rolling. And Travis, good to hear from you. And hopefully I'll see you guys next week when I'm down there holding hands with Sammy Long.
100%. 100%. Sammy probably sit on your lap.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. He says every time he comes, he's like, it's like Christmas every time he comes. So he views you as Santa Claus. There he goes. The coach, John Quintero. It is the Fletch Zone on San Diego Sports 760 live on the free iHeart Radio app. Okay. Here's what we have coming up next. So Ben Fletcher, as we mentioned, on the run from the Colombian cartel. We have no idea when we're going to see him next. He could not be here, so we had to fill in. We're going to have the roast of Ben Fletcher to close out the Fletch Zone coming up next with myself, Big Rich, TD, his co-host in the mornings on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on 101.5 KGB, Cat Fisher, and of course, his current co-host, Sammy Long. That's next up on San Diego Sports 760. Big Rich alongside me, TD.
Feels good.
On the other side of the glass, Sammy Long, or as we like to call him, Sammy XL.
And you know what? On the other side of the glass, you can drop that GL. I'm fine with that.
I get what you're saying.
You feel me? You feel me?
Yep.
I'll jump right in it.
I feel you, brother.
Take the GL out of glass. What does it leave me with? Definitely not class. That laughter you hear is Kat Fisher. She joins us again. She jumped on moments ago, and now she's back for the roast of Ben Fletcher.
Yeah, couldn't miss this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, none of us could. So who wants to start? I mean, we could go around the room and give a little bite of the apple.
Which one of Ben's dumb sayings is your guys' favorite? Like, if you care, I care. He says that every day on this show.
He does?
I don't think I've ever heard him say that.
No.
We could have a drinking game. Our listeners
Where did he take that from? Jerry Maguire?
I think so.
He read that on a Snapple cap.
Yeah, what?
He goes every day. He's like, if you care, I care. And that's how I feel about sports.
Wait, what?
Oh my God. I can't thank you enough because myself, Big Rich, TD, and Kat Fisher, we all co-host Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, 101.5 KGB, morning 6 to 10 a.m.
Best morning show in all of San Diego.
I appreciate you saying that. I really do
you.
appreciate you saying that. And we are going to roast the ever-living dog meat out of Fletch for saying, if you care, I care. That's why I love sports. What are you, Bruce Springsteen in between songs?
Do you know his high school nickname, Sammy?
It's Puddles, right?
Puddles, due to the high amount of sweat that he left on the basketball court.
Man, he peaked so hard in high school, he's still sore from it.
Right. I think the only thing he ran in high school was his mouth.
By the way, he reminds us daily that he's an athlete, which, I mean, that
drives me crazy.
It tells you a lot about a person where they're like, no, you have no idea how good I was at baseball and basketball in high school.
Yeah, the sign-up sheet at Merced High, the pay-to-play that he brags about.
If you go to my parents' house, my mom will show you newspaper articles.
Yesterday when we were driving, because I drove Fletch back here from the studio when we were filming that TV episode yesterday, and I was like, oh, Fletch, are you going to start hitting the gym this summer? Like, what are your summer plans? And he literally laughed. He laughed. He said he will never go to a gym again.
And because he's already beaten it.
Yeah, I don't go to the gym.
Darkness overcome.
Yeah. Speaking, you know what? He went home. He was rushing home after we had that thing we had to tape because he had to get home to his dog Brock, who he named after Brock Purdy, who very much like Brock Purdy, the actual quarterback. He's surrounded by talent, and that's why his show works.
Oh, we love you, Fletch. We love you.
You know, finally with Fletch off for 2 weeks, the microphone is going to get a break from the same takes that ESPN already rejected.
Oh, that is getting flipped.
Off the top.
We're going hard in the paint, and that's perfect timing because NBA draft was last night, which you will hear none of coming up next with John and Jim. It is all Padres wall to wall from 2 to 6 p.m. We miss these guys. We love these guys. We're excited to pass the baton and give them a high five. And we are thrilled that you are along for the ride today on the Fletch Zone with Big Rich, myself, TD here, Kat Fisher in studio, and of course the best that the fastest ascent I'm going to say I've ever seen in radio.
Wow.
Sammy Long, a super talent. You're a star in the making. I love you so much.
And the only hair in afternoons around here.
Golly.
I love you.
Stick around. John and Jim next. It's San Diego Sports 760.